This time on Whatever We Want, we talk about
James Gunn's new DC Slate announcement. There are time codes down in the description if you'd like to jump around to different points in the episode. We talk everything from the new big bad of the DC universe to Swamp Thing. Does this change anything for DC? We will discuss. Enjoy! Welcome back to Whatever We Want, where we review content across all mediums of media, movies, TV shows, video games, and beyond to give you the most interesting behind-the-scenes insights, storytelling techniques, all that jazz, and more.
We go over everything from Disney, Pixar, Marvel. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. PreBanter.
That's the thing, Daniel. Welcome back, everyone. But I was thinking, I don't really have much for PreBanter today, and I just kind of really want to jump into the main topic of the week. So are you cool just jumping into
Oh, okay.
DC
Yeah, the one time I
stuff?
do it, we're just like...
Yep. Here we are. All right, so
Okay.
yeah, the DC news. So basically, yeah, like we said in the intro, we're talking about like James Gunn's huge DC announcement. This kind of dropped on the 31st.
I'm kind of wearing
I
the
believe.
wrong shirt for this.
Yeah, what the heck,
Sorry,
man?
audio listeners. But...
Dale's got a Spider-Man shirt on. What are you doing? I think it's really funny because James Gunn announced like in December, or maybe it was the beginning of January, he was like, I'm gonna make the DC Slate announcement this month sometime. And he like waited till the last day. Like January 31st is when he released it. Like nothing like the last minute procrastination that sure setting the precedent for
but here's the
DC's future.
If I'm being honest, I kind of... Like, it seems like good stuff that they're putting out, but honestly, if they took more time, I would have been okay with it too. To show that they're putting in the prep time. You know what I mean?
Maybe. Yeah, I feel like if he would have waited one more day, February 1st, everyone would have been like, oh, they're like, he said January, it's February.
No, I'm saying like don't even make the statement originally.
Yeah. I think they need to make these statements though, just to keep DC fans on board. The big question, I want to run through everything and talk about our thoughts on it, and then kind of decide like, does this change anything? Like, do you think this is just a good step forward with DC, or like they can make all the announcements they want, but like at the end of the day, if they don't deliver, you know, like, so I guess time will tell. But yeah, we're just gonna run over the slate and stuff. So ready to jump into it?
Yeah. I'm pulling it up now myself, so I can also reference stuff.
All right. So I mean, the first thing that he ran through was the slate for this upcoming year, like 2023. Like, so the DC projects that are kind of still in development before like the new DCU kind of takes over.
Yeah.
So I just want to briefly rush through those, give our thoughts on that. So first we got Shazam! Fury of the Gods. What do you think about this movie? This is coming up pretty soon, like March, I think.
I don't give a flip-flap paddywhack or any dog's bones about this, dude.
Same, dude. I literally, we watched, I think, both Avatar and Puss in Boots together when we were in the theater, and both times this trailer came on, I was like, I'm just not looking forward to this.
You said you were less intrigued to watch it the more you saw the trailer.
I know. I don't know. And the only appeal for me is that it takes place in Philadelphia. Like, because I'm like, yeah, PA, Philly, represent. I was there a couple of weeks ago. But like, other than that, I don't, especially now that I know that everything's about to be reset at the end of this year with this new slate that he just announced. I'm like, well, what's the point of this? Like, maybe it'll be a fun story. I don't know. The last one, the first Shazam with Billy Batson and like the 7 gray more deadly sins or whatever they were, like those villains, I just didn't really appeal to me. And I've said this before, but I don't think Billy Batson and Zachary Levi, like the kid and the adult, I don't think they mesh well. Like the transition, I don't know.
Like energy wise?
Yeah. I think Zachary Levi's too bubbly for like the angsty teen that plays the kid, who's now also like an adult now. Like, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of
that's a
things.
good point too. You kind of gotta.
I would actually want to look up who
role.
plays the kid and how old he is. But what do you think about Shazam? I mean, you just said it, but
It's not really. He's never really been my favorite. Okay, well, I should say this. He has a much better written character when it comes to animations, especially like I love like his moral stance for when it comes to a lot of stuff in the Injustice storyline, because he naturally wants to side with Superman. He's with Superman for the longest time there, but he eventually comes to a point where he's like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the stance I feel like Shazam should have, where because he was chosen for that kind of understanding that he has.
I think that's interesting you bring up animation though, because and when we get into like the new stuff that was announced, James Gunn did say like his goal is to like make a cohesive story between film, television, animation, and gaming, which he didn't really announce anything for gaming. So I want to like maybe theorize what could be in the works for that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. But the kid that plays Shazam is 20 years old. So he's not really a kid anymore. He's also like pretty tall, I think.
Shaman.
Shaman. Anyways, all right. Next in the announcement was The Flash. So that's coming out this year. James Gunn said this was shaping up to be a really good movie. I want to ask you, do you think he actually thinks that, or is he trying to like ease fans / get them into the theater after the whole Ezra Miller situation?
Well, that's the thing. It's still going to be Ezra Miller for this version of The Flash, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They didn't
No, it was literally like did not make any sense to reshoot it because he plays like two characters, like Ezra Miller and then like a alternate universe Ezra Miller. So he's like two of the main characters. So like they could not have reshot him out of it.
I'm just gonna say it. I think it's a really bad move. I think it's very stupid
that they're releasing this.
If they were going to go forward and cut out Batgirl for tax purposes, so that way they could at least make some recovery.
I think they
that.
sunk too much money compared to Batgirl into this that it didn't make sense tax wise. They wouldn't return on their investment, and I think they're still banking on this to reset the DC universe, even though there's 2 more films coming out after this before.
Just do a hard reset then. Yeah, just do a hard reset. Well, don't have it be like this film is going to be a crutch that we're going to use plot wise to try to explain all this BS on top of the main actor having all of these allegations for being just frankly an asshole. And then
apparently they're getting help though, and like are seriously committed to changing. I don't know the situation, but I don't want to I don't know.
I don't give a fuck. If you've done bad things, you're bad. You can change short, but that doesn't resolve the responsibility.
It's a whole other issue.
Things you've done.
Yeah, I definitely think. Yeah, I'm glad they're getting help. It doesn't change what they've done at all. And the fact that they're gonna be a big movie star in this multi-budget dollar movie is unfortunate, but also on the flip, if the actions of that one person would tarnish the work that hundreds of people that worked on this movie did, that would also suck. So I think this is the lesser of 2 evils, I guess.
For me, it's about reputation too. I'm not just talking about Ezra Miller in this sense. I'm talking about just DC as a whole.
Their reputation is not great right now.
My point. So if they do a film like this, where it's again riding on this pivotal actor that has again all this stuff going on, it's just taking that reputation and bringing it even further down in an attempt to try to fix things. When I'm just saying, just fix things. Just cut it off. Hard cut.
I think it's hard to say until we see the movie itself and see if it is actually a hard reset and what the heck is planning.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know if I want to go see it. That's the thing. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of other audience members are gonna have the exact same.
That's why feeling. I think James Gunn is it's just shaping up to be a good movie because I think he's trying to get people to maybe see it. I think it could be really good, but I don't know. But then moving on, the last 2 movies of the year, James Gunn kind of breezed past in his announcement. He said Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2. I'm excited for Blue Beetle. I will say that.
Yes, I will say that. Aquaman in general, not the guy. I'll never stop saying this. Aquaman is the worst superhero ever in my mind. Okay, he swims. That's it. That's his thing.
My gamer tag for everything is Poseidon, man. Come on,
that's different. That's a sea god. People. That's literally a sea, like a sea god compared to Aquaman. You can go talk to SpongeBob and Patrick. Looney,
that's pretty cool. I would take that power in a heartbeat. I lose brain cells pretty fast, but
yeah.
Anyways,
man.
So out of these DC projects, I guess before the new slate, you're looking forward to Blue Beetle the most?
Yeah, yes, definitely the most.
Yeah. Okay.
I actually like Blue Beetle a lot as a character.
Yeah, it's that kid from Cobra Kai is doing it. I'm excited for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of the Aquaman 2 comes out December 2023, and then it's a hard reset apparently, but it's not really a hard reset because he's bringing in characters from the past, stuff that he's worked on. We'll get into that, but I also want to bring up the important distinction that he said about Elseworlds. So they're still gonna have the stories like the Batman and Joker,
the Joker,
are, outside.
Which is kind of funny because they're both.
Yeah.
Well, Batman's alley-ish,
right.
But anywho.
The alley where his parents died. RIP. No, so they're having these Elseworlds separate stories where basically it's separate from the main DC storyline that James Gunn started to run through what the MCU is, but it's these external stories that are not a part of that, don't tie in at all, one-offs, which I'm really excited about because those are my favorite DC projects, the Batman and Joker. Those projects are my favorite ones that we've gotten in the past. long. So I'm glad they're not just like nixing those. I'm curious. I want to talk later about what we think, like what else will be in the Elseworlds, like if they'll introduce any more, or if like the Batman and Joker were just kind of grandfathered in. But before we get there, I want to now start running through the like 8 to 10 year plan. Yeah, that James Gunn said. The first part in this grand 10-year plan, whatever, is called Gods and Monsters. And he also made it clear that what he announced was not all of the slate of Gods and Monsters. There's apparently going to be more in there, but this is what he could announce currently. Yeah, so what do you think about just Gods and Monsters, like that concept, and like that being the first step?
I like this in general, to where we're having themes built for each one. Because that's one thing we didn't really see with Marvel. We kind of saw it progress as it went from phase to phase. But there wasn't really like a titled thing, you know what I mean? So I feel like it gives a more concise way to like know what we're going to be building and getting into.
They're kind of retroactively doing that. Yeah, like they did, like after the Infinity Saga was over, they're like, this was the Infinity Saga, and now we're in the Multiverse Saga. So they kind of retroactively did that, but like per phase, there wasn't like, it wasn't like phase 1 is this. But I guess you could kind of say like phase 1 was like building the team, like culminating in Avengers. Phase 2 was like a lot of sequels, Thor 2, and stuff like that. Guardians, maybe like introducing space in the cosmos more, and then phase 3 was like the culmination of Thanos and Infinity. I don't know. Anyways, the first thing that James Gunn announced was Creature Commandos. It's an animated series, so they are like we said, trying to tie in animation to everything: film, television, gaming, and animation. So Creature Commandos animated series. James Gunn said that he has written all these episodes already, and he said, well, this is actually pretty interesting, that I think is a cool concept, but they're trying to have the characters cross over from the animation to live action, and like vice versa, with like hopefully the same actor playing them. I think that's pretty interesting, actually. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think that's honestly the proper way to do it. It kind of makes me think of, again, like the Marvel what ifs in some cases, even though in some cases they didn't even use the same voice actor, but they still use like the same kind of like look for like, mannerisms. Yeah. So I feel like something like that and tangential to that would be awesome to see, because it's just, again, it's just more ways to expand the stories of a universe. So
yeah, up for it. I think it's also going to be an interesting challenge acting wise for whatever actor gets these roles, because voiceover is totally different than live action acting. Like when you're speaking with your voice, I was actually just talking to my roommates and some of their friends when I did a trip to Big Bear, and on the car ride we were talking about voice acting. And like when you're speaking, I obviously don't know firsthand, but like when you're doing voice acting, it's all you have to go off of is your voice. Like that's all the characters getting, and the animators put life into it. Whereas when you're live action acting, you have like your facial expressions and just your movement to like sell your acting as well, I guess. So it'd be interesting to see who can accurately like flip back and forth between those two. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know who's going to be on their Creature Commando team, but I was looking up who has been on the team before. The original team had Warren Griffith, Jake 2. Those are two GI robots. Apparently, I'm on the team twice, man. Dr. Myra Rhodes, Dr. Medusa. Okay, that's pretty good. I think in the picture that James Gunn released, like Frankenstein was on that list. In that picture, Man-Bat, Medusa. I don't know.
Man-Bat, really?
According to this comicvine.gamespot.com article, yes.
Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Animated should be good. There was like no really release dates attached to most of these, I don't think, but yeah. Next on the list, Waller is an HBO show.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think about that?
I think it just depends on how they do it, because again, this is one of the things, like you said, that they're kind of bringing from, what is it, Peacemaker, and like things that have already been done.
Suicide Squad. She's been Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis again, but she's been Amanda Waller since like the first Suicide Squad, like 2016. So they're still kind of like bringing this in. And James Gunn even said this announcement that in this show she'll be teaming up with members of Peacemaker. So you'll finally have to watch that, Daniel, please.
Yeah.
It's a good show. It
is a good show. I just have time, dude.
Well, now you like it's the only thing they're like bridging over from the old stuff. So you probably should watch it.
What's it on, HBO?
Yeah, everything from DC's on HBO. It's Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
It's apparently co-created by the Watchmen creator and the Doom Patrol creator.
Oh.
We'll see. I don't know. Then next, the big announcement everyone's been talking about is Superman
Booster
Legacy.
Gold, no.
Yeah. No, Superman Legacy, which is a movie about like the origins of Superman, and James Gunn is actually writing it right now. It said it's like he said it's the true beginning of the DCU. I also saw that he on Twitter recently put up a poll like Trunks versus no Trunks for Superman, and people are voting. And I think Trunks won, but I'm just wondering if like that's actually how he's gonna make like a lot of creative decisions, just like Twitter polls.
Just Twitter polls,
like,
yeah.
Mullets, no mullets for Superman. CGI mustache, no CGI mustache.
Oh my god.
I want to ask you though, do you think James Gunn is doing too much? Because he's been hired to be like the creative oversight of all of DC. And I'm worried he's going to be stretching himself too thin if he's like overseeing everything and writing this Creature Commandos show and heading the Superman Legacy show. And I think he's writing another one maybe later. I think The Authority, he said that was like a passion project of his. Because like Kevin Feige I'm not saying it doesn't have to be an exact copy of Kevin Feige, but Kevin Feige doesn't write any of the movies. You know, he is just like the oversight, kind of overseeing the whole umbrella, everything, make sure everything fits perfectly. Do you think if James Gunn is getting too much in the weeds that they could lose sight and it won't be as good? How come?
And here's why. Because I feel like what he's doing is what needs to be done is there needs to be a singular mind. Well, of course, you have like your team with other writers stuff like that to help get things in the right direction, but having a singular lead help lay the foundation. He's being the architect right now, like literally mapping out all the different dimensions of like how you're going to be pouring the concrete, where you need your structure beams, like where do things need to be, right? You need that first. Before, what they were doing is they kind of had with Snyder, they had kind of like a foundation, kind of, but then
and then let people do their own thing.
Architectural plan to actually build the rest of the house.
Yeah,
you know, so maybe I feel like he's needed to get this whole plan in.
Maybe Kevin Feige would have like written movies had he done that before. Maybe just out of like lack of experience, Kevin Feige just couldn't write the MCU movies. Maybe he would have had he been like a writer or like director or something, but I'm not sure.
No.
Since he had like a producing background, maybe he just attacked it from that angle. That's a good point because I guess, James Gunn has a different background and that's why they hired him, not to be a Kevin Feige copy. So I guess that could be interesting. I don't know though. I'm curious to see how that plays out. And he does also have his co-CEO, Peter, whatever the other guy's name is. I feel so bad for him. He always gets forgotten. Like it's like James Gunn and the other guy that was hired.
Oh man.
But yeah, so the Superman Legacy movie releasing July 11th, 2025. Who do you think should play Superman?
I don't know.
Tom Holland. Me.
No. That'd be so weird. It's like I feel like there's been that joke where somebody like mislabels Spider-Man as Superman. With great power comes great responsibility. Oh, it's the news anchor one. You remember? Have you seen that clip where it's a news anchor lady?
Oh, like, yes.
Superman's favorite line.
With great power
comes great responsibility.
Yeah,
and everyone's just cringing. But like, if Tom Holland did become Superman, that'd be kind of funny because technically she'd be right then, and then she'd be like, But I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, again, Superman's not my guy. He's not my bro. He's not my homie.
I think I was talking to my boss about this at work, just about all the DC news when it came out, and we kind of were just like riffing, and we were like, it'd be really funny if, we were like a Superman Legacy like origin movie, and he was like, isn't that just Smallville? And I was like, yeah, and then I was like, wouldn't it be funny if that like this is just a ploy, like they make a fake ad or like fake trailer, get everyone into the theater, and then it just starts a Smallville marathon.
They did it, guys. They did it.
Yeah. Superman Legacy. I know. I bet Evan's excited about that. I hope they do it right, especially because they kind of canned Henry Cavill for this. Yeah, I don't know. It should be interesting.
Yeah.
I also want to hear your thoughts on. I think it's interesting that James Gunn, like, I feel like his expertise is taking not well-known characters and that kind of like making the story creative and new and fresh and making audiences fall in love with this like Band of Misfits type character. I don't know how much experience I've seen / he has taking an already well-beloved character and making a story out of that. Like, so he took Guardians, made everyone super fans out of them because they were not well known. Superman is very well known and well loved and criticized when you do anything different. And he's tackling this story. Do you think he'll have trouble or difficulties making that switch?
No, because at the end of the day, he's a character person, like you said yourself. I don't think it matters whether or not it's a well-known character or not. Like, when he has a character, he's approaching characters differently compared to how other people write. Because
I feel like what does he do differently, do you think?
He takes I feel like a lot of times people write their characters, including myself, it's something I also need to change, is they have them in a world and they see what their external problems are that they're going to need to face. But James Gunn, I feel like, looks deeper, not only to like internal conflicts, internal problems, but also like what is the drives and motives, and he has a deeper connection with the characters. He's like, I feel like whenever he writes, he actually beyond puts himself in the shoes of that character, so he knows exactly what they be doing.
Okay.
Which is core of any good writing, but like I feel like I don't know what it is. There's something there. There's like a pizzazz that he has. Again, like with Guardians. To where every character was different with Guardians 1. Like, they all had their different own styles, but, like, as soon as you saw how they were acting or moving, like, you knew, like, what they were about and, like, how they were.
Okay.
So it's that kind of energy that he's able to just hone in on.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
So I think he's going to be fine with that.
I'm just interested to see how that goes, because I think it is just, like, a different way, like, way to tackle something.
As long as he doesn't make Superman, like, emo or something. Like,
yeah.
Get him all, like, goth and like, why am I an alien? No!
Superman's on TikTok, making those straps.
Oh, my God.
Anyways, so the Lanterns HBO show is next on the was next on the agenda. My boss joked and was like, "Are they gonna get Ryan Reynolds back?" And I think it'd be actually hilarious if he cameoed.
I feel like they should have him as a cameo. Imagine, I forget what they're called, but imagine like the blue guys or like the council of the Green Lanterns. Imagine if they have him as one of them.
Yeah,
that'd be so freaking funny.
Some crossover.
But no, this is actually one of the ones I'm actually looking forward to the most for two reasons.
Yeah.
One, Jon Stewart. Stewart. Yeah, Jesus, I can't speak.
And Hal Jordan.
But that's mainly because Hal Jordan's okay. But
I'm just saying he's also in it. Like, those are the two that he announced.
Yeah. But for me, Jon Stewart was always like my core Green Lantern because of the animated series, or just like the animated series. So like he was always, plus just the way he holds himself and the way he does things. Like, he has less flair than Hal Jordan and all that. So like he's like straight to the point, but morally just, and he like gets to it. So that's why the second thing, right? It leads into like his like a intergalactic cop is how it's
they said written here. He said like True Detective with Green Lantern, space cops.
I love that feel. That's gonna be so cool.
And I think this series, I'm actually gonna be kind of looking at this one through a lens, because like with close eyes, because James Gunn said this. He like briefly said this, but I was like, oh, I caught that. But he said it's a space cops and a mystery that ties into the larger DC story. And he just kind of breezed past that, but I was like, oh, so like maybe we'll get some hints as to what everything's leading towards in this show. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's like an external something in space. It probably is. That's what like everything is like leading towards in comics. But I think this Lantern show is like one of the first cases where we'll be in space for a majority of it probably. And so I think we'll see some more hints to what the DCU is building towards in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Next is The Authority, which is a passion project of James Gunn. It's a movie. It's based on the Wildstorm characters, which is a group of superheroes that think the world is broken, will do anything it takes to fix it, no matter the cost. That just synopsis kind of gives me like The Boys vibes, where I think like they might approach it like, oh, these group of superheroes that just like don't care about the law and just gonna do whatever it takes, like superheroes without restraint. So I'm excited about that. Passion project of James Gunn.
I feel like this is more up his alley too. Again, like you were saying before, like introducing new character, quote unquote, new characters,
like lesser well known comic characters. Yeah. Next is Paradise Lost, which is an HBO series on the birth pit. It takes place in the birthplace of Wonder Woman, kind of like Game of Thrones. James Gunn said. I
think it's gonna be interesting. It's a very different vibe than like a lot of the other stuff that we're gonna be getting.
Yeah.
I just hope. Here's the thing, dude. Wonder Woman 1984 freaking killed all of my enthusiasm for any new Wonder Woman material for a while. So I don't know. It depends on who they have as. Are they like going to actually have Wonder Woman in the show, or is this going to be like before her time? Or
I don't know. I think.
What do you think?
I think this is. I think the way he was hinting at it, this doesn't center around Wonder Woman. I think it's just about the place and like the warriors around like that.
I think that's a good way to
from
take it.
So yeah, I don't think it will. It might like lead into the next phase that we see the origins of Wonder Woman or something. Because if we're starting with like the origins of Superman, maybe in this we'll start to get hints of the origins of Wonder Woman or something like that, and then they'll combine the next phase or something.
Also, what time period do you think Superman Legacy is going to be in per se? Right, because I feel like that's also a very important thing thinking about like time-wise with Wonder Woman now as well.
Yeah, I think Paradise Lost, this Wonder Woman thing, is going to take place like hundreds of years ago. Just me personally, and maybe it will flash forward back and forth with the present day. I don't know, but I think the Superman Legacy. I think it would be interesting if they said this was present day and then just this current, we get to grow up with Superman and see him become a hero throughout the course of the 10 years of the DCU. I think that'd be a great story arc for him over the whole thing. So I don't want them to be like, all right, this was like 10 years ago. Now he's Superman. Like I want to see that growth over this whole DC run, I guess.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's a good idea.
Same with Batman, which we now get to. That was the next announcement. The Brave and the Bold is a movie. Introduction to the DCU's Batman. It's a story of Batman with his son, Damian Wayne, based on Grant Morrison's comic run. Beginning of the Bat family in the DCU, he said. What are your thoughts on this?
Here's my one thing with this.
Yeah?
And this is what I've seen a lot of people kind of have gripes with this about, is why are we starting with Damian?
What do you mean? You should be starting with Bruce, you think?
No, for Robin.
Oh,
why
for
are we
Robin.
starting off?
You think we should start with what's his face?
Dick.
Yeah.
Nightwing.
Yeah.
Or eventually becomes Nightwing. But yeah.
Maybe he's already Nightwing in this, and like, or maybe they're changing it up.
So if that's an established thing, like if that would be something that they established in the film, like I'd be totally fine with that. But like, well, again, too, this is going to be an experienced Batman that we've already seen, right? It's not going to be like an origin thing.
Maybe.
I'm assuming.
I don't know. If he has a son already, probably. Unless they change his origin and like maybe Dick died and then he becomes Batman because of that. I don't know.
You don't need to do that. I just want to see Nightwing properly done on screen.
Yeah.
There was the Titans show, which I know I didn't watch. I had no interest in watching that.
Yeah, same.
I don't know. It's just, I want to see him. He might have been done right in that show. I could be a total fool right now. But I kind of just want to. I want to see him with bats. I want to see Dick with his gymnastics, flying around, doing flips and stuff. Yeah. Batman being all gritty, like ground combat, flipping people over as Dick is doing flips over them. Like, come on. Like, that's what we want to see. We'll get that with Damian, though.
Yeah. Next, we've got Booster Gold, like you alluded to earlier. So that's an HBO series. It's a comic cult character. Yep. Apparently, he's a loser from the future that uses future tech to come back in time to the present day and become a superhero. To try to be a hero. So he's loved. Superhero imposter syndrome.
It's funny, actually, at your Christmas party.
Yeah, you saw someone from the future?
Well, no, Ben had a shirt on, like a Booster Gold shirt on. And he was talking to me and Evan, and he's like, I'll give you $5 if you can guess who this is. Oh, it took me saying, like, oh, wait, that's... And Evan's our DC guy. He's our resident DC guy. I'm like, Evan, you don't know this?
Ben did say he wanted to be on our podcast if we talk DC again. I completely forgot to...
Oh, yeah!
Sorry, Ben.
Well...
Next time. Well, we have all these things like that are going to be coming out, so I'm sure we'll get him on.
Yeah, we have a lot. I mean, heck, we could talk to him when we watch the Booster Gold show. Like,
yeah.
Boom.
Or Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. It's a movie coming out. I'm actually pretty excited about this. The way he was describing it. It's apparently like based on Tom King's comic run where Supergirl was raised on a chunk of Krypton and watched everyone perish around her. So it makes her much more of like a jaded character. So instead, like Superman was raised on Earth as Krypton was like being destroyed. Supergirl grew up as Krypton was exploding around her. Like, that's interesting. I wonder what that does to a person. I'm excited to explore that.
I really love what that can lead to for if they two like ever interact. Because again, Superman's supposed to be like the symbol of hope.
Right.
I feel like her character is going to be a symbol of like hopelessness.
She'll have a reverse S on her shirt. Reverse hope. Yeah. The next thing that was announced was the Swamp Thing movie, which I am super excited about.
Dude, I can't wait.
Yeah. So this is apparently...
This brings me back to physics.
I do know a bit more about this, actually. Some more was announced or like rumored. Yeah. But so this is apparently going to be very tonally different than the rest of the DCU, more horror. Mm-hmm. And since that first James Gunn announcement, it's been rumored after that James Mangold is in talks to helm the project, and he has a great track record. I was looking at his filmography. He directed Ford versus Ferrari, which I believe won an Oscar. Yeah. He also co-wrote and directed Logan, like the Wolverine.
Oh, I didn't know
thing.
that.
And he's helming the new Indiana Jones movie, the Indiana Jones Dial Dial of Destiny. He's the only person that's not Steven Spielberg to helm a Indiana Jones movie, I believe.
Dang.
And apparently he's like a massive fan of the story. And according to some sources, he actually approached James Gunn and Peter Safran with that's the other guy's name, Peter Safran, with his ideas for the project.
Like it finally clicked.
Yeah. But if he does helm the project, it's probably going to be a few years away because after Indiana Jones, he's contracted to helm a Bob Dylan biopic for Paramount.
Interesting.
So he has to start on that and finish that. So it'll probably be at least 2 years before he even starts on
Dang. Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing. Yeah. So, yeah, what do you think about Swamp Thing? Dang.
I always love the character. It's going to be interesting to see. I always love like seeing him interact with other characters. For example, like Batman and how like from other animation stuff, like how they have like a mutual respect. You know? So it's going to be, again, I love the horror aspect of this. This is what I was saying with what they need to do with Marvel 2 after Werewolf by Night, that they need to start expanding into like more other spaces, because that was beautifully done.
Right.
So I'm happy that we're already starting off this new slate with like this kind of wide but still honed spread, if that makes sense.
No, I agree. I think I don't know much about Swamp Thing. Like I haven't read much of his comics. I think I've read some, like the Marvel equivalent, whatever that guy's name is. But
Man-Thing?
Maybe, I don't know.
It's Man-Thing.
But Swamp Thing, I was reading like why James Mangold likes his character, and apparently there's like a lot of like human psychology and just like deep thinking about the world that this character like can unlock and leads to. Like it started out as just like this horror creature in the comics, but then he kind of had like a lot of psychology like about man and just like humanity and aliveness that the character evolved into, and they want to bring that to the big screen. So I'm excited for that. So yeah, that was the last of the announcements for this. For like, again, this isn't all of the first phase or whatever, all of the gods and creatures and monsters, or whatever the heck it was called. This is just what he could announce, but that was a lot like to go off of. What do you think, like just overall about this slate?
Well, let me ask you this. I'm seeing a lot of technical gods, right? We're not really getting that many monsters. I mean, I guess
think the Creature Commandos
say the Creature Commandos, Swamp
Thing. Yeah, I think the Creature Commandos is a team of monsters, so I think that's pretty. And maybe they're saying Waller's like a monster because of the stuff she does. That could be interesting.
That is true. Yeah, monsters could be more or less derived than what I'm thinking. So
yeah, maybe not like a literal monster, but like just the way you act. Like that could be interesting. Ooh. Maybe
Does
like
that mean Swamp Thing's dead, not a monster then, because he's really wholesome and philosophical.
Yeah. Maybe Booster Gold is not like so much a god from the future, but he's like a monster because of what he's done to get there or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Interesting. But no, like I think it's a unique way to start. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I'm
cautiously optimistic.
There's this guy on TikTok is like Red Panda something. He's like a mohawk.
Okay.
He talks like a lot of, just comic and nerd stuff. So, but he has a good perspective how to look at this, which was you can be excited, but be cautious and don't have your hopes up. Like,
we've been burned by DC too many times for me to be like, yes, I'm all in. I'm like, no.
So don't like just blindly be like,
not blind obedience. That's what Darth Bane taught me in those books I read. Yeah. I want it to be good though. I desperately want it to be good.
Same.
What are you most excited about of all the projects? I know. You're probably gonna say Swamp Thing, aren't you?
No, actually, I'm gonna actually say it's between Batman and Lanterns, and that's because I want to see Batman done right. And the closest thing we've gone to that, I would say, probably be the Dark Knight trilogy.
What about
but that
the
also kind of
Batman?
went on its own tangent. The Batman's also good, but it had a it was said, it was a year one type of Batman feel.
Yeah,
and it was kind of, I love it. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like I'm thinking like main Batman. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We could get that out of that too, but I love the grit that we get with the Batman. I want that to stay in its own lane. I'm wanting to see the Brave and the Bold to feel like the more classical Batman.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
I gotcha.
Yeah, but then the Lanterns, actually, I'm very excited about that because again, I want to see this new dynamic. I think a lot of that too is coming from like me connecting it with potentially what it could be with like themes like from Invincible.
Oh right.
I'm thinking like
that
the
got
comics.
announced. Did you see the The new trailer for that is coming out like late. I love how they just like spelled out the whole animation process.
Yeah, dude, it was so funny. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. They also, like we said, we kind of touched on that earlier. They were very loose with. They didn't announce any video games, and they said they were trying to connect gaming into everything. What do you think? Like,
well, there's reasons for that.
Do you think they don't have anything in the works yet?
It takes longer to make a game. Well, it depends on the game, but for what they're trying to do.
What if they're just like, the first game is like Batman Mobile Candy Crush? That's the first big DCU game.
Oh my god, no.
In the way. Ding.
That'd be so terrible.
I don't know what they're going to do with that. I'm interested to see. I hope they do good stuff. Like, I kind of, like, it'd be cool to get, like, I mean, just the Arkham City game was, like, so good. Like, I just don't know, like.
But that's the thing. That's because it needs to be able to build the universe properly. The Arkham games are able to establish and then keep on building on the world that Batman was in.
Yeah.
And it did it fantastically. There's still some things here and there to where, like, there are some characters, like their timeline's kind of weird because, like, I remember each one happened at, like, a different time when the new games came out. So it's like, oh, this one's the origin. So we went back in time. This was the end of Batman. So, like, but if you pay attention to the story and all that, like, you know, you can, like, follow everything. And it makes sense, right? That's what we need from DC now with films and really what they're saying going across the board with everything. It just needs to make sense.
Yeah, I don't think video games is going to work if you do like a booster gold random character. I think for video games, people want to play iconic characters more. Well,
iconic characters, yes. I thought you were going to say like a team thing. I'm like,
No. I'm saying they want Avengers, iconic characters. Yeah.
Yeah, iconic is going to be good.
So like, I don't think you just like if he was like the booster gold thing is a video game, I'd be like, what? Like, I don't think I would play that. I don't know, but. Anyways, I'm going to touch upon Elseworlds again. The stories where they're not connected to DCU, so like Joker, the Batman. I think the Batman Part 2, the release date was officially announced as October 3rd, 2025. So Wayne 2025 is still... I don't know if this was announced before and I just forgetting this, but like Wayne 2025 is still possible, Daniel, if they change the name. The angsty Bruce Wayne story. I just think that's hilarious. We predicted 2025.
We did.
Not that was such a huge prediction, but and then the Todd Phillips Joker, whatever the Folie à Deux, whatever it is, with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga, the musical is set for October 4th, 2024. Yeah. The other Elseworlds series includes the ongoing Teen Titans Go animated series that's still going to continue, and apparently there's a separate Superman movie being produced by J.J. Abrams and written by someone Ta-Nehisi Coates. So apparently there's two Superman projects. It was announced in 2021 and remains in active development. And apparently I was reading an article and James Gunn and Peter Safran said they're eagerly awaiting a draft of the screenplay. So I still think that's so muddy. I don't know. I could be wrong because they're still doing Batman. I don't know.
Yeah, I also don't know with that, Chief.
Yeah.
That's a mixed bag.
Anyways,
it's kind of like when you actually do go trick or treating, you know, and then you
get two
pull
Supermans.
out like a candy bar, and you pull out like a knockoff candy bar. It's like that's not an M&M, that's an S&S.
That's not an M&M. My Rudolph's not on the packaging.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested to see those Super Bowl commercials now if my Rudolph's in them. Anyways, so what other Elseworld projects do you want to see, like that are outside the main DC storyline? Or do you want them to focus all their efforts on the main DC storyline?
No, I want other Elseworld stuff.
Yeah?
That's, again, comparing it to Marvel again, I want more What If stuff, but I don't want it to be, like, animated What If. I want it to be, like, actual tangential, like, live-action What If stuff.
Okay.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Or even games that would be, like, in What If universes.
Yeah, Elseworld games. I didn't even think about that. That could be interesting, because they could just do, like, a crazy, fun... another Batman.
You could technically say that Arkham City, if you're like all those games are in an Elseworld.
Yeah, but that was before
That's before.
Yeah.
But you see my point. Like that's where things could like tangentially go. That's what I'm trying to say. But I don't know. Here's the thing. I want to have a character. A lot of these characters are overpowered, right?
Yes, they're gods and monsters.
Which is the problem with the game aspect of that. We talked about this before. Like I don't think anybody would thoroughly enjoy a Superman game.
If it's because you're too powerful.
Yeah, you're too powerful, and like, what are you gonna? As a game coder or developer, you have to find a balance, right? So it's like, if you're playing Superman in a Superman game, you're trying to defend Metropolis.
I think the Hulk game was decent if they could find something like that, like because Hulk's pretty powerful too.
Yeah, but
I don't know. Yeah, they have to find an active way to nerf
You gotta make
him.
sure you're not like blowing up buildings and like doing stuff, but then like, in the movie you see him doing that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like you have to find a balance there to like he's powerful, he can do these things, but he's gonna not do these things, you know, like, and then like beat up these villains, but these villains also need to be powerful. They can also do like it's a lot of back and forth.
All right.
And I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm also saying it's very hard to make fun with being interactive. So
yeah. All right. My last question for you before we jump into the next few segments is what do you have any predictions for what everything's building towards, like after Gods and Monsters, what's going to come and what like the big bad's going to be, if there is a big bad?
Well, here's the thing. With the Snyderverse, what they are trying to get to was Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. Apocalypse? Okay.
So, and they didn't do that. But I feel like if we're starting off with Lanterns, we could start seeing the expansion of the Lantern-verse, per se, like with the other colors.
The LV. The rainbow.
So we could start going to the Black Ring and the problem that holds. We can also still be trying to get to the anti-life equation.
Okay. What is the anti-life equation?
It pretty much, I mean, it depends on what storyline it's written in. Some, it like instantly kills people, and others, it pretty much just makes people zombies, but like not zombies. Like they're alive and dead, but they're also like, it's a weird thing. And that's when, the guy is using Omega beams.
I don't know.
He's like all gray and has like the
Is
blue.
it Omega?
I'm totally blanking on his name.
From the Bad Batch? Omega.
Imagine that. Hold on. Doomsday DC. No, not CDC. It could be COVID stuff.
Is it Dark Side?
Yeah, Dark Side. That's who it is. I'm like, it's not Doomsday. Doomsday's the abomination looking mother. Shuka. Yeah.
Omega. All right. Dark Side, potentially.
Anyway, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like, that's kind of his deal. He wants to rule and get the anti-life equation, expand his empire and all that. So we could still be going that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly would like to see it go a different route, like with like a Black Lantern problem like that. I feel like that'd be something that's new, something that's different. And something that would really liven up DC a good bit. Okay, that'd be kind of like its first Avengers per se.
Yeah. All right, are you ready for the next segment?
Yeah.
I've got two TTTTs this week actually.
Oh.
And they're both Chuck E. Cheese related.
Why?
Because I watched a video and I thought they were pretty interesting.
Okay.
Did you know that the founder of Atari also founded Chuck E. Cheese?
No.
Yeah.
Wait. Is that like the birthplace of like children art?
No.
There's so many questions.
This might clear it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So during Atari's early days, the founder of Atari, Nolan Bushnell, would go around selling tons of Atari arcade machines to businesses across the country. He eventually saw that these machines would make tons of money in their lifetime through quarters, like way more than he was making by selling the base machine for. So he thought he'd go straight to the source and open up his own arcade. Yeah. To make sure customers would play the machines, he centered his business around pizza, since it took like a bit of prep time. And during that wait time, the customers would be inclined to play his Atari machines. And the rest is history.
That is kind of actually genius.
Yeah.
I never thought about that aspect. It's kind of weird. I mean, I get that kind of grew into like the kids' play place and birthday parties and like really weird animatronics that then inspired Five Nights at Freddy's. But
my next TTT is about the animatronics.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, go into it, I guess.
Did you know that Chuck E. Cheese was almost a coyote?
Why?
When the founder of Chuck E. Cheese was ordering the animatronics for his new business venture, he actually ordered a coyote and was planning on naming the arcade Coyote Pizza. But there was a mistake in the order, and they ended up receiving a rat animatronic instead of a coyote one. Instead of ordering a new one, they decided to run with it and change the name of the restaurant to Rick Rat's Pizza. But they realized that name wasn't the greatest, so they opted for Chuck E. Cheese since it was more chipper when you said it and it forced you to smile. So by some shipping mistake, we got Chuck E. Cheese.
That is so weird to think about. It is funny how that kind of works out though. Like they realize that makes like the like subtleness of it. Like, oh yeah, it like forces you to smile.
Yeah.
Which, might give some serotonin, so it might make you want to go.
Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah. Yes. Credit to Company Man on YouTube. He's like a whole YouTube channel dedicated to like just like stories about different companies, and it's pretty cool. And I watched that one. Are you ready for the draft?
Oh, yeah.
So we are doing single-player video games.
Am I going first or are you going first? I think you go for... No, you went first last time.
I did go first last time. I got Spider-Verse for best animated feature.
That's right, you mother trucker. Oh, man, this is tough. Well, hold on. How many single-player games have you even played in your lifetime? Have you even played that many?
I played a lot. I have a list of 10 here. I played a lot when I was younger.
There's some that are in my pocket that I feel like you're not going to take, especially because you played Xbox.
You think that? I'm
going to say The Last of Us off the rip, because The Last of Us is amazing.
And
Naughty Dog knows exactly what they're doing. The show's doing a great job. I haven't watched it yet. I haven't really had like a drive to, because I know how things go.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I still want to see it to see how, because everybody's been saying it's been great. So I want.
It's so good, dude. I just watched the 3rd episode. I'm gonna start with The Force Unleashed. I know it's an unconventional first pick, but I could not risk you getting that. I just love that. Make Starkiller canon. Just kidding. I know that would ruin the power levels, but I just love that game.
Yeah. No, that's respectable.
All right.
I've got to go back to old school. So I started off with a middle-aged pick with The Last of Us for the first pick. I gotta say, Spyro.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say all of them because like I don't think it matter.
Okay.
Are you gonna take any Spyros? Like it doesn't matter. I'm talking about like the OG3 that when they did the
That's your
rebrand.
2 through 4, then. I'm just kidding.
No. just those original PS1 games, man. They changed a lot. Insomniac did a great job with those.
I'm gonna choose Skyrim then.
That's a good one.
I freaking balled out, played so many hours of Skyrim. I don't think I ever beat it, but I still played so much.
You've never beat Skyrim?
Dude, I know. I was one of those kids that would do the main storyline quest and did none of the side quests. So then when I got to the first boss, I was just horrifically ill prepared for the dragon fight. And then I got caught in like a respawn loop where I saved because I thought I was in a safe spot. Then I unpaused and immediately died. And then I just kept getting caught in that loop. And I couldn't
that was the one game, yeah.
I couldn't pause in time to like reload an old save. So I had to start over, and I was just like, this sucks. And I took like a big break and haven't really gone back in a while.
So you never killed. So you got to the Alduin fight, but you never killed him.
I think I don't remember, honestly. I think I might have went back and killed him. I don't know. I love that game though. I think I did finally revert back to a save, but then just started doing a ton of side quests. I don't know.
Here's why I probably didn't think of Skyrim. Is because for a while, both me and my sister, after we finished Skyrim, we went to play Elder Scrolls Online for a long time. And that, because I was thinking multiplayer in that aspect.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the gameplay transfers over. There's a lot of new elements too that I like with ESO. But that's probably why I wasn't thinking of that. But that's a good pick. That's a really good pick.
Thank you. All right, your third one.
Since I said Insomniac on the last one, I got kind of sick with my boys' Insomniac games for this one.
Yeah?
So I'm going to say Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah, I knew you were going to do that. I had that originally higher on my list, but then I was like, you know what? It's not that high on my list.
Have you even played it?
I have played it, yes. You ask me that every time we bring it up, and every time I'm like, yes, I've played it. This is like the fourth time on the podcast you've asked me if I played Spider-Man.
Because you're Xbox and more recently PC, which I guess you could play on PC
buddy,
now, but...
as I've told you before, my buddy had it in college, and I went over to his house and played it.
I remember now. Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, my next one, I'm choosing Batman Arkham City, like we mentioned.
Yep.
Arkham City is just such a good game. The open worldness to it and the combat. We just haven't had a Batman game that good since.
I totally agree. That's an amazing pick.
Thank you. Spider-Man's a good pick too. We got this was the third round was superhero for both of us.
Yeah.
All right, you're next.
I'm thinking like PS2 era now. Okay. I got a couple picks here. I'm going to say Sly Cooper.
Okay.
Again, just the original trilogy of the PS2 games, because those games were... Again, you're not going to take any of those, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah,
okay.
You're right.
The first one did a great job as like defining the world and like the art style. I loved how they had like a comic booky feel, and they leaned into that because of the technology at the time.
The like toon shadingness of it.
Yeah. So because they couldn't do like high poly counts or anything like that, because it's PS2 era, right? They're like, okay, how can we lean into this? And I love just the feel and vibe of that. It was perfectly done. Yeah,
I respect it. I'm going to say Portal 2. I know there's co-op in that game, but I freaking
trying to cheese it in, my guy.
No, but
okay.
The single player side of it, like
yeah,
I played the heck out of that before I even knew there was co-op. Like I fell in love with that game because of the story, because of the single player version. And then when I found out there was co-op, then I was like, oh, this is great too. But like this campaign of Portal 2, I love it.
Okay. I feel that. With that said, if we're going to be including like single player campaigns, I need to include Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the OG one. That campaign, hell, I'll still go back and play it. Like, the gameplay was so good. The mechanics for like all the different missions were great, and just the storyline was chef's kiss, dude.
Yeah,
it was flawless.
Did you ever play? I need to honorable mention. Have you ever played Chronotron on Cool Math Games?
That sounds familiar.
It's like a time travel puzzle game. You basically like run through a level, and then you run back to this time like TARDIS thing, and then when you go back, then your copy of your person runs the same thing, but you can now do a different thing with like as a second time, like back in time.
Oh yeah, yes, dude.
And that's,
oh my god.
So it's like it's not technically multiplayer, even though you're playing with your past self. So
you're
it's
playing
like
with
you're
past
playing
self,
with other people. So it's technically single player. I just want to honorable mention that. I think I'm gonna say again, this might be cheesing it again, but Minecraft single player, I still do enjoy that occasionally, especially modded. Like I spent hours just like messing around in single player with mods and like exploring the like tech mods and the magic mods and building. Like I think I'm gonna say that might be cheesing it.
Whenever we do new worlds, it's like it's the first thing that you always jump into. You're like, okay, I'm building a generator, and I'm just like, I got cobblestone.
Every time
like
we get to that classic, the classic, we're gonna start a new server, and then I like my first thing is like, let's get through all the tech immediately. Digital miner speed run.
I mean, it's nice. It's always nice having a generator and all that. I feel like I go out and get like a good amount of resources. I mean, I know how to do it now too, but like, I feel like
back in the day, I was like ahead. I feel like I was ahead of the curve.
You were, dude. You were freaking like I felt bad for like Evan because like Evan, like every time he would join and he'd just be like, "You guys literally have a nuclear power plant in your basement, and I'm here with a stick." Yeah, and we're in this new biome.
And that's on the 1%. All right. I think that was it, right? Man? That was 5.
So yeah, then yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we
should do like a video game episode soon, covering like favorite games in depth, what makes a good game, childhood games. Like,
I mean, we could do a thing on The Last of Us, like when the series is over.
Fairly Odd Parents.
And like compare like the game to the show and like
break into rules. Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up. Have you ever played Fairly Odd Parents Break Into Rules?
No.
Dude, that was such an iconic game. I think like original Xbox. I don't know if it was on PS1, maybe too.
Oh, do you know what I just remembered? Did you ever go to Lego.com and play like the Lego games there?
I think so.
Dude,
it was on PS2.
Browser games on that were so crazy. I remember this one where you had like the RC car and you had to go around and do like stunts. There was this other one where it's like the open world thing. Oh, dude, the OG Bionicle freaking browser Flash game.
We'll do a video game episode. All right, ready for Patron shoutouts?
Yeah.
Cue the episode music. Boosh, we got Patron Lori, Frank, Rick, Lisa, Evan, Tony. Thank you so much for pledging the tier. Thank you to the shout out. If you like to support us over on Patreon, the link is down in the description. You get the audio episode early, special benefits, cool perks, all that jazz, and more. Thank you sincerely to our Patron supporters. We really appreciate it. Are you ready for cool comments?
Yeah. What we got this time?
So, Zach Henry commented, question for Jake. As a CGI and VFX artist, have you worked on any of these films that were nominated for Oscars? This was on our Oscars episode. Or have you worked on any films that won Oscars? I'm just really curious on what films/shows you've worked on. I have not. I'm not a VFX artist. My job title is coordinator, so I like kind of adjacent creatively to the VFX artist. I just want to like make that distinction. But I do work on the films. I have not worked on any Oscar nominated films, but my company has. Like my company worked on Avatar 2, the company I work for, like a year or two before I started working there. And I think also like right when I started working at the company, a Free Guy was nominated that year, like in 2022. The 2022 Oscar nominations came out, and Free Guy was nominated, which my company worked on. But again, that was like right before I started working. Just to answer your question about what shows and films I've worked on, I'm just pulling up my LinkedIn right now. Follow me on LinkedIn.
Pull up your IMDb.
I haven't updated my IMDb. I need to. I started as a data IO coordinator, and I worked on Miss Marvel, Thor: Love and Thunder, She-Hulk, and the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. I worked on those as a data IO coordinator. And then I was promoted to visual effects coordinator, which is just slightly different and like more personalized on the projects. And I worked on 2 Netflix movies, there were like 2 sequels to like a children's movie. So Netflix's Ivy and Bean, Doomed to Dance, and Netflix's Ivy and Bean, The Ghost That Had to Go, and I worked as a coordinator on Black Adam. So those are the projects I've worked on so far that I can discuss.
Should I make myself an IMDb?
What do you have?
Miss Marvel?
Sure, if you want to. I don't know. I don't know if like
I don't have anything else. But like,
I don't know if
can you
IMDb
include
like
games
with
in that
extras.
too?
I think so. I think IMDb puts games on there. Like if you're like, I think so.
Because then I could do my own game.
I don't know. All right, but thank you for asking that question. I appreciate it, and I'm happy that like you're curious to know about that stuff. I like talking about it. All right, ready for the introduction?
Yeah, tell me when.
A win.
We just talked about what we want to talk about, and now we're done.
Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Next week we'll be back with a Valentine's lovey-dovey episode. We will see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.